Hey guys, welcome back to your Champion Body YouTube channel with me, your host, Ron Williams. Listen, we talked about movement. Through this series, we're going over movements, but we've talked about the knees. I want to just go a little bit further on the knees just to explain a few other things that could help with the movement of the knees, because one of the things that has been said is that leg extensions are not the best exercise to build your quads, because they can actually cause knee problems. I've heard the same thing with squats, but with squats, leg extensions, leg curls, they can actually help rehab and get rid of the knee problems that you have if they're done correctly. You've heard the term mind in the muscle. When you put the mind in the muscle, you're not just thinking about the muscle while you're working it. Your mind is actually in the muscle. In the contraction, your mind actually forces the muscle to do what it does. Your body doesn't do anything unless the mind first gives it permission. You can give it permission from a surface level, which most people do, or a deep level. That's truly the mind and the muscle that we're talking about. I'll explain it. So if your knees are causing you problems, I would first get them checked out. But if your knees are strong, we're not doing rehab, we're doing prehab. Remember, prehab is rehabbing that particular area before it's ever damaged. So you're doing it before time, pre. So with using the leg extensions, they say this is bad for your knees, some do. But the problem with the leg extensions is the first movement is on your joint, unless you engage the muscle first. This is where mind in the muscle comes in. So I'm sitting here, and before I ever move the weight, I squeeze the muscle deep, deep down inside. And instead of forcing the lower part of my leg to extend and then cause the contraction, I force the contraction to cause my leg to extend, rather than the opposite. The idea of working the quad is to lift the knee off of the bench to my hand. That's the first movement. So as I'm pushing towards the ceiling, it doesn't have to move, but I'm pushing towards the ceiling, I engage the quad. And then I extend, forcing the contraction from the quad itself. Forcing the quad to do the work rather than forcing the lower leg to extend to cause the quad to contract. So here we go. So I'm in position, and when you put your mind in the muscle, what happens is by the time that workout is over, you're as mentally tired as you are physically because you worked your mind. So if you want to get the results, and you want to spend less time in the gym than most people are, you focus, put the mind in the muscle, get the job done. Okay, here we go. So I'm starting position, contracting first, and then I'm squeezing the quad first as I extend. Notice my hips didn't go up this direction, but they stayed back. Why? Because I'm keeping the quad tight. Tight, squeeze, squeeze harder. Hips staying back. The moment I start to do this, I'm losing it. Keep them back. Complete contraction. I put the mind in the muscle, taking the pressure off the knees, strengthening the muscle around the knee so it can support the knee itself. That's what I want you to do. Protect those joints, work that muscle. So this is one exercise. I'm gonna go to the next exercise, which is leg curls. Now with the leg curl machine, we're supporting the knee joint from the backside. See, this knee joint itself, it needs coverage from the front as well as the back and the side. So what I'm doing here is I'm concentrating on the hamstring. And again, I'm not just pushing and manipulating the weight. I'm concentrating on my form, concentrating on the technique. So from this position, I'm gonna start here, and the first thing I wanna do is contract the hamstring. And as I'm contracting all the way through, squeeze at the top, all the way back up. I'm gonna tell you something. As I'm squeezing at the top, I feel where my glutes and hamstrings tie in. And I'm thinking about that separation. All the muscle groups are made in an arc. So I have my glutes, then I have the hamstrings, and then the calf. So I'm working on, as I'm contracting, the full muscle belly of this muscle. And I'm focusing on that hamstring as I'm contracting. So all the way through, right there at the top. I don't want to miss that. Squeeze and let it extend all the way out. Keep the muscle tight. I'm not jerking, but I'm contracting. Great. Enough said about that. One more exercise. That's the leg press. Let's do it. Here's the last exercise. The same thing that applies here applies to the squats. We want to make sure those hamstrings are flexible so we can get in a proper position. So as we're moving into position, this is my little ritual. I start here, but I'm rotating my hips back towards the back of the pad, so it forces my glutes to engage. I want to make sure I have a full range of motion, so I fix the seat where it's tight and compact. But if my hamstrings are not flexible, my glutes are round up this direction rather than to go back. So as I'm extending out this direction, I'm forcing my glutes, my chest up towards the ceiling, and my glutes back towards the pad as I extend. So, with that being said, what am I concentrating on? I'm concentrating on my glutes and my hamstrings because no matter what, my quads, if you extend the leg with pressure, they're going to engage. But it's easy to work the quad and not work the hamstring and the glute as much and just have huge quads and not very developed glutes and hamstrings. The other thing you want to concentrate on is look at the angle of your feet. I did this on purpose. Notice that there's a tremendous angle here. There's a tremendous angle here. So as I push out, all the pressure goes to the knee itself. So what I want to do is I want to get my feet up higher. I'm going to take this angle off. There, the angle has been taken off. My feet relatively wide. So I've taken the angle off. So I'm putting all the pressure now in my glutes, in my quads and hamstring, taking the pressure off the knees. The more angle that I have, which is created by the lower leg and the upper leg being close to one another, the more pressure is on the knee. But if I can get this lower leg away from my hamstring and my quad, get it up relatively high, I take the angle off of the knee so the pressure is alleviated from the knee joint itself. And I'm forcing it into the glutes. So as I'm pushing, I'm driving through my heels and pushing with my glutes, forcing my hips to rotate back. Looks like this. In this position, you should be able to slide your hand back here. Otherwise, my back is really, really tight on the pad. That means that I'm using my spine. The pressure is on my spine rather than on my glutes. And so, lift the chest and drive. Ooh. Ooh. As you're extending, really careful not to lock out or bounce against that joint. I'm carrying all the weight on this leg so I can do this. You want to make sure you extend, keep it really tight, but not hyperextend here and bounce against that joint. Some people you'll see do this. The weight is pushed away and then comes back with impact, and that also causes pressure to the knee. So guys, I hope you love this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Protect those knees, protect those joints. Remember, all lifting is not good for you. All movements are not good for you, but what can we do to offset that in the weight room? And these are some of the things that you can do. God bless you till next time. Coach out.